Okay, hi. You are here for part 2. I will do a brief recap on just kind of the keywords that we touched on in part 1, which is going to be over on my other social medias. TikTok and Instagram is going to be just the first chunk of this reading. If that resonated with you, that's probably why you found this video now. But it's not super imperative that you go back and see it, because I'll touch on that real quick before we really get into it. I pulled these cards in a think, feel, do spread. So the first one was bat. I'll show you the picture as well. Which talks about transition, shape-shifting, and heightened senses. This is talking about being in survival mode and needing to kind of come out of it and learning how to do so, in a manner of speaking. Then the second one, which is feel, is rabbit, longevity, cleverness, and luck. So you might be kind of coming into a sense of feeling lucky or abundant, or that's what's coming up next. The part that I would say, remember how like resourceful that you can be in that survival mode. You don't need to be in that all of the time, but it is good to know that you're capable of doing that. I did see 111 as I saw that, so that seems to be the main part of that to take. And then the do, deer, gentle, vigilance, and innocence. Although gentle, the deer is vigilant and assertive and asks that you stay awake to attacks and defend yourself when necessary. Give your heart to those who deserve it. This is talking about kind of being the peace and where to draw that line. So I want to see, where do I want to get clarity on these first? Let's try the Audacity deck and see what comes out. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about think. Okay, so for some of you, this is going to be about a connection. It could be a romantic connection, or it could just be something that's not quite in union right now, friendship-wise. I'm not getting family, but take it as it resonates. There's a lot of work that you probably did in some sort of isolation from others, probably because you were in survival mode, with the bat kind of talking about the things that you can do in the dark and the things that we can accomplish when we're on the way to the light, kind of thing. You probably are doing a lot of shadow work right now. This is probably a dark night of the soul for you, or some sort of ascension going on. There was a lot of work done in hermit mode here, but you're kind of coming out. You're probably ready to like spread your wings and start something new that really serves you in this way, that encourages you to continue down the path that you're on now, which is not the path that you were on before, and it might be the one that people are in opposition to because they don't get it yet, right? You're supposed to maintain this energy that you don't, let me see if I can, it's a little vulgar. The 0 of Fox is really, that's the energy we always have to kind of keep when we know that this is what would be best for us. We have to trust that. We're the only ones who know that, right? I want to know, tell me more about this connection and what it's causing. Okay, switch. We're just using all the decks today. Okay, we have a situation where somebody has probably had to set some boundaries, or maybe they've received clarity on which boundaries they need to set and with whom. And this is where you're probably learning to show a little bit of love to yourself because of those boundaries that you do need to set, because you know it's not good for you. You're like, I know that, you know, it's probably hard to set these boundaries because it does disrupt this other person, this other piece of the connection. Now I do feel a little bit of family. There could be some mother-ish wounding stuff happening here too. Showing love to yourself in this time while you're doing that is like the same advice that you would give other people. Like, you deserve to have this love before you have to give to others. You know what I mean? So remember to, like, I'm seeing a lot of you as being very helpful to other people with that advice. Take your own advice. Practice what you preach on that, because You are already the whole package all by yourself. You don't need anybody else to give you that validation or confirmation that you are so. And you've already come to that conclusion. So it's almost like, why are we sitting in that if we know that that doesn't have to be the way, right? And that's maybe more of a rhetorical question that you should ask yourself, because that's going to be personal. That's going to be very personal to each and every one of you. If you want a personal reading, you know where to find me. And if you don't, leave a comment and I'll tell you where. Let's look at the second one, Rabbit. This is talking about feeling, cleverness, luck. What do we need to know about that? Especially as we're kind of letting everything kind of go up in flames and burn. It's a surrendering. It's not like a giving up. It's not like an intentional, like, well, I'm going to just blow my whole life up. It's an intentional surrendering to the inevitable of which is coming to you now. It might feel like everything is chaos and that like you burned a bridge and you can't go back to that now. It is intentional by the universe and by your higher self and by you that you can't go back that way. You're not supposed to go back that way. So if there's something that you feel like I completely blew that up and I don't know how to undo that, maybe that's not the focus right now. Yeah, you've already kind of put in the work here to fix, or it's maybe not fix. Educate, inform, let people know. You've already kind of done what you could to keep the peace about whatever it is that you're feeling strongly about that others around you might not. You've already kind of gone to every extreme you possibly could to help them see where you're at, and now you kind of just need to surrender to the fact that one, maybe they're not meant to understand you. Maybe they're meant to be confused by you. Maybe they're meant to be confused by those moves. 7:07 on the clock. That's talking about you integrating your lessons and them having to start that process over. You're completing a lesson here by choosing yourself despite the chaos it causes for other people, because you've already kind of done that. You've already taken on the chaos for other people. You've already done all of those things, and now it's your turn, right? And you know better than to manipulate back. That's not how you operate. And one, the other people in this, I feel like I keep counting and then I don't. I don't elaborate on the second or third things, but whatever. I'm just a girl. You've already done all of the things that you can to even try to help this person or these people see where you're at, and they might choose not to. It might not be because they can't comprehend. It might be because they're choosing not to. You have to let them. And that doesn't mean that things have to like end. That doesn't mean that things have to, it just changes things, right? It helps you to kind of zoom out and look at it as a data point instead of a personal thing. Like, okay, if I've done this and this person just refuses to meet me where I'm at, no matter what would I tell my best friend? What would I tell 7-year-old me? What would I tell my own child in this situation? I need to take that advice here. And then let's see what the deer is talking about. That's that do energy. Yeah, time to say goodbye to that life of the party energy. Like, I will keep the peace. I will do what I'm supposed to do so that nobody else has anything to say about it. I will convince you. I will beg you. I will over-explain. I will over-share all of the things to try to get you to understand, and you just won't. And you know that with the High Priestess. You know that already, and you know that this... And this is a subconscious knowing, really. I mean, some of us are conscious of this, but to let them be where they're at and kind of fall on their own to find their own way is what you're going to have to do here, because that polarity is necessary. You're on the pole opposite for a reason. That's how this planet works. That's how our lives work here. That's the intention behind it, is that polarity is where those lessons are. The things that we have let go and released, I have to be careful with the imagery here. The things that we have let go and released with the Death card are not things that these people are ready to let go of, and it has a lot to do with beliefs and mindset there. Some of that can be generational, some of that can be, you know, passed down work ethics, some of it can be you stay because being in a marriage is reliable, or staying at a job is reliable, or staying in the same town because people is reliable. You're being asked to stop looking at it through that lens. How, where, who, why, where do you need to look in order to get you where you need to go? Because the more progress you make in your own journey on healing that for yourself, because these people have shown you that they're not ready to do that yet, the more that you can do that, that ripples out and that does affect them. So you are helping them by helping yourself. This is kind of the last little test that comes in before, which is interesting because the last video ended on 555, and I look at fives as a test. Like, are you going to accept what the universe is giving you? And it's not always positive, it's not always negative, it's a mix, it depends. What is it that you want in your life right now? If what is approaching you is something that you're like, I don't want that anymore, say no. If there's a pattern, if there's treatment, if there's some sort of external influence or even a mindset that is just like not, you're like, that's not what I'm doing anymore. That's what this is talking about, taking action on that. There's something else here I want to grab, but I can't put my finger on what it is. Some of this is big changes for people though, because they recognize that like maybe being in the place that they're at, living wise, working wise, all of those things. I mean, those are major life themes, but this is not new information. This is something that you probably will have been contemplating for a long time. It's been putting you in that survival mode, and you're balancing. It's almost like you're teetering in between being in survival mode and learning how to come out of it. And you don't have to be in that survival mode anymore, because the universe is going to meet you where you're at, but you have to let go of that hesitancy. You have to let go of those things that the exact thing that you're wanting these other people to catch up with you on so that you can be on the same page is what you have to keep practicing. Like making your life a moving action, and that it has like a magnetic effect. People follow, people start to learn lessons, people learn through you, even if they don't want to admit that, right? Because if you're in my collective, you probably are aware with influencing people, and they will die before they admit that, and that's okay. That's okay. If I help you to learn your lessons, then I don't need the acknowledgement that I had any part to do in it, whether it was positive, negative, neutral. If I just said something that woke you up a little bit, I don't need to know. You're probably in that zone too, because that's part of that survival mode, is like figuring out how you can be helpful to people. You don't have to do that anymore. You have to figure out how you can then be helpful to yourself, because that's your superpower. Yeah. There's part of you that also feels like, and this might be specifically for the group that is thinking more career-wise at this point in this reading, 1313 on the clock. Career-wise, you might be like, well, who am I to go off and just do whatever I want to as a business and think that it's going to work? The same as the person that you work for, same as the CEO of the company that hires you and pays your check every 2 weeks. It's the same audacity. This is just a situation that is going to take everything from you, kind of no matter what you do. So you can keep teetering on this. You can keep trying to balance between that. You're going to end up in the same boat. You're going to end up feeling, I mean, this is 10 of Swords energy. You're going to end up feeling like there's nothing left to give anymore, and you're going to think it over and over and over and over again and try to come up with a new solution, and there isn't going to be one, because you know what the answer is, and that's choosing you. That's choosing you over the obligations to everybody else. Now, I recognize that that's hard to do when there's finances and money involved and all of those things, but I would also like to point out that it doesn't actually matter if we follow what society is telling us that we need to do, what our partners or family members or friends or whatever. Nobody's making it work right now. And that's how we know that this is an era for change, right? Change in a positive way, and we start with ourselves. You'd be surprised at how much you can do. You really would. Something that you can ask the universe for is, show me how good it can get. That's funny. I couldn't remember. That's what it was. I couldn't remember. In part one of this, I could not remember what message was coming through earlier. And I even put it in like a little blurb. I'm like, can't remember. Can't remember. That's what it was. So tell the universe, show me how good it can get. And have faith that it's going to, because it literally will. The only thing standing in between that right now, because sometimes there's blocks in the way. Right now, you're ready to 15-15. Love that. You're ready to like take that leap. You're ready to take that leap. You should have the audacity. You've earned your right to like stretch your wings a little bit now. Is there anything else that we need to say before we go here? If you find yourself in a place of feeling lack or feeling like you don't have enough of something, enough emotional fulfillment with what's going on in your life, if you don't feel like you're stepping up for yourself enough, just think of pouring from an extra cup. The universe is giving you a cup, and this is for you to do with. You can give it away if you want to. This has all of the healing energy, all of the creation energy, all of the balancing energy that you could need to fill your own cup. If you dump it into somebody else's, it's gone. If you put it into yours, you can do things with that. You can alchemize it, you can manipulate it, manifest it into more energy, and then you can help other people. Once you fill up your own cup with this is unlimited when you're filling your own cup first. If you just go straight to the energy suck, that's all it's going to do. It's not going to create more of that. There's a really clever quote that I'm also not remembering about that as well. This is all about balance. This is all about that polarity and where you're at with that. Right now, you are not in the negative. There are people around you who are. And so you are the opposite. You have to keep moving in that direction so that this can all resolve. You can't stay stagnant waiting for these people to figure it out, because they're not going to. They're only going to figure out by watching you do. At the end of the day, if they're going to at all, because we can't control that either. If you want to look into your own personal situation, it looks like there are a couple love things going on in the collective, career things, and then a couple of family things. It could be about a lot of things, but that's like the major themes I'm getting right now. I just heard so everything. If you want to look into your own personal situation, let's see, this is going on YouTube, so you can go to my website, thirdeyeroll.org, or you can go to either my TikTok or my Instagram and look at the links in my bio for all of those options. We're on a path of like positivity here. Like we're getting balanced in our feminine and masculine energies within ourselves, and that's helping other people around us do that too. And it's hard work, and I'm proud of us all for doing it. We're almost at a point where we can take a breather. We don't have to be in survival mode anymore. We're training our nervous system how to recognize the good and the positive and things that we've worked for. And that's where more of that comes from, right? So keep your focus in the right place. Focus on the positives. Focus on the good things. Focus on what you're learning. And try not to look at everything as positive or negative. What do you know about yourself? If you feel negatively about something, what does that tell you about you? If you feel upset watching the news, does it mean that you're empathic and you care about other people? Great, tell yourself that. At least I know that I care about other people, and if this was all in my control, I would not allow these kinds of things. And then you send your energy, you help where you can, and then you focus back in on yourself, because giving to places that can't reciprocate over and over and over again from an empty cup doesn't work. And we know that from leaving survival mode. It probably made a couple of you sick. It probably made a couple of you really go off the rails a little bit. Like, we're ready for change, and it's time to take that leap. And you're supported by the universe. And we're in a very, very powerful manifestation period right now. So careful what you wish for.